UX questions. Your user experience questions answered in 3 minutes or less.
Catherine from Bloomington, Indiana asks, do I need to write code to be a UX designer? I love that question. Thanks for asking, Catherine. This is UX question number 18, and I'm Ben Judy. Do I need to write code to be a UX designer? It's a very common question, a very hotly debated question. If you confuse UX and UI design, then you might give a hard yes. But tell me why you need to write code to conduct user research and design a user journey map or a user flow diagram. My opinion is no, you do not. With an asterisk. Making UX design choices requires a different set of skills and a different headspace than writing computer code. UX decision making is predicated on human empathy, whereas writing code is just getting a computer to work the way it was designed to work. Empathy is not needed. So my answer is no. But my asterisk is that often organizations, especially small companies, need generalists who can do both. If you don't have enough budget to hire a designer and a programmer, you have to hire one person to do both jobs. Even if that's not the case, though, it will really help if you know some things about the technology you're designing for. This will enhance your collaboration with the people who write code, and you can avoid making a fool of yourself. I remember arguing with a graphic designer who clearly had no idea how websites were built. And he drew little graphic elements that looked like acorns to function as radio buttons. Not only ignorant of interaction patterns and usability affordances, but also how hard it would be to code a functional web form with radio buttons that looked like acorns. And this was in the early days of CSS when browsers were not very capable. Years later, I designed some components for the US web design system, and I absolutely had to know some things about HTML and CSS and the technical aspects of accessibility in order to collaborate effectively with the developers for that web design system. So it depends on the kind of work you're doing as well. If you're creating content web pages, If you're creating a robust design system, maybe some knowledge of UI code is necessary. But my basic answer remains, no, you don't need to learn to code. UX requires a different skill set. You need to learn how to collaborate effectively with the people who write code, and it helps to be curious and learn as much as you can about everything, especially the technology in which your designs will be built. Keep asking your questions about UX. Next time, I'll answer the question, how can I recession-proof my UX career? Hey, it's Ben Judy. Thanks for joining me for another episode of UX Questions. UX Questions is produced as a video series for YouTube and as an audio podcast. If you want to submit a question, I would love to answer it. Just go to uxquestions.com, type in your question, and submit the form. You can also leave a comment on the latest episode on YouTube. I do read your comments. You can listen to the podcast via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, or wherever you prefer to find your podcasts. Full text transcripts of each episode can also be found on the website at uxquestions.com. You can help spread the word about this show by clicking the share, like, and subscribe buttons on any YouTube video, sharing links to the podcast with your friends, and giving a 5-star rating and a review. I also invite you to support UX Questions on Patreon. You can earn different perks at each level of support, and I really appreciate your Patreon subscription. For the price of a cup of coffee or two each month, you can become part of the UX Questions community and make it possible for me to keep answering more of your questions. Visit patreon.com/UXQuestions for all the details. I'm now offering sponsorships and personal messages. Want to promote your brand, your product, or yourself to the UX Questions audience? I offer a variety of options from a short mention in a single episode, all the way up to multi-channel, long-term sponsorship opportunities. Visit uxquestions.com for details. If I've learned one thing about user experience over the course of my career, it's that there's always something new to learn, some new question to be answered. So keep those questions coming in, and keep checking UX Questions. Your UX questions answered in 3 minutes or less.